Ajimu Najimi is the archetypal final boss, with her 4 quadrillion skills, her immortality and her unique mentality. However, that isn't just on a narrative level, as Najimi truly believes she is the final boss of the story, as she believes that the world of Medaka Box is nothing but a manga. And so that is what we shall discuss today. So if you find yourself entertained at any point during the video, then consider liking, subscribing and ringing that bell, as I cannot explain to you how much such a small action can do for this channel. Also, if you want to go the extra mile to support this channel even further, then consider pledging to my Patreon. Anyway, on with the video. Najimi is a very unique being in the world of Medaka Box. It's never specifically said what exactly she is, but from what we can gather, she is something close to being a human, but isn't quite there. She's lived since the beginning of time and is immortal in all senses of the word. However, what she isn't really that important. What's more important is how she thinks, her mentality as a not equal. Najimi sees herself as completely unrelated to humans. She is not equal, she doesn't even fall on the spectrum of pluses to minuses. Both abnormalities and minuses appear as the same to her. When Zenkichi sees how she sees people using parasite eyes, he is not only surprised but disgusted, as the way she sees people is not how people see each other. And this is because of her unique existence. She was around before humans, she saw herself as different from them. Not above or below them like an abnormal or a minus, but completely detached. She wasn't equal to them in any way. After all, she was blessed. Nothing bad ever happened to her and she never faced anything she couldn't soon overcome. Humans on the other hand were like background characters to her, so why wouldn't she view them as something else, something not equal to herself? Najimi, due to this view of the world, being detached from humanity and everything else, lived a boring life. Only 150 years before the main story did she first meet someone like her, and only 5 years before the story did she meet someone she had expectations of. Her life was one of nothingness. She was blessed with immortality, so never knew aging or death. With all her skills, she never came across challenge or failure. Every time she couldn't do something, she soon would be able to. She never came to understand that even with hard work you have limits. And so, in the same way Kamigawa grew to see life as meaningless through constant failure, she came to see it as meaningless through constant success. Her life was too easy with no bad things, a world that seemed almost too perfect, a world that seemed too nice and easy to be real. And so due to this she came to a conclusion that the world isn't real, it's all fiction, the world is a manga and nothing matters. This, as said in the story itself, is a simulated reality. Najimi seriously believes that the world is just a manga. Every time in the series she talks about main characters or antagonists and such, it isn't just a joke or a figure of speech, nor a fourth wall breaking meta comment. No, she genuinely believes life is a story. She never even attempts to defeat Medaka even with her immense number of skills, as she believes that life is a story, that Medaka is the protagonist and as such she has no chance at winning. She truly believes that reality isn't real, that she is just part of a story. And in truth, this idea of a simulated reality is one that's been with Medaka Box as a story from the very beginning, as it's something that affects 2 major characters even if it's to a lesser extent. Kamigawa chooses to believe he is a born loser in order to cope with his weakness. He believes the universe is out to get him and that his role is to be an antagonist. In other words, he believes in a simulated reality, a delusion which is only broken when Medaka beats him properly and proves him wrong. And Medaka chooses to believe she is a protagonist, a goddess, a saviour of strangers, because otherwise she just sees her natural talent as simply trampling the efforts of others. She believes herself to be the protagonist, that she doesn't feel bad about being who she is. In other words, she believes in a simulated reality. And so for this reason, Medaka is the best person to challenge Najimi, as they are so very similar. However, we will get back to this in a bit. One of the main reasons Najimi sees humans the way she does is because of this simulated reality, as humans aren't people, they are just characters in a manga, just ink on a page, they aren't real, they are just characters filling a role. However, even if this is what Najimi believes, it isn't something she wants to accept, which is why her goal is to prove herself wrong. Her goal was always the same, to try do the impossible and fail, because if she fails, if she can't always succeed, if she can witness unpleasantry, then she can prove reality is real. As if it was just a manga, then she would break her limits, she would overcome the odds and be able to overcome anything and make the impossible possible. However, if life really is real, then she will fail and not be able to do such a thing. Back when she fought and lost at Hiko 100,000 times, she finally found a challenge, one she can overcome, something impossible. However, by merely avoiding fighting him, she came to the conclusion that that was a win, and so convinced herself that she as always overcame an impossible task, once again adding credence to her conclusion that life isn't real. And so she founds Hakoina Academy and starts the Flask plan. She didn't lose to Ihiko, so he must not have been perfect, the perfect unbeatable human, so she decides to attempt the impossible again by making a perfect human. The Flash plan, like everything Najimi did, was not of any real importance. Najimi doesn't see humans as special after all, they're just ink on a page, so why would she be concerned by making a perfect human? Well, because if she can, she will do the impossible. She will make humans who are nothing of note into something perfect. If you can succeed at that, then she can truly do anything. But if she fails, then it proves she is capable of not always succeeding, and more importantly, that the world is real. However, then something else occurred that proved to her that the impossible is possible. Zenkichi beat Medaka in the student council election. And I don't think I need to explain why Zenkichi, the normal, beating the abnormal among abnormals Medaka, seemed at the time to be an impossibility. I mean, even Najimi with all her skills couldn't comprehend herself beating Medaka. However, Zenkichi did win, and it wasn't due to any fluke of luck or any protagonist plot armor, because Zenkichi had the skill Devil Style, the skill that neutralizes all flukes and coincidences and makes everything 100% fair and work as it should do. Much like how Kumigawa used bookmakers that he could only suffer a definitive win or loss in his fight against Medaka, by employing Devil Style, Zenkichi was able to prove that his win was definitive, that no external reason or luck was to blame. Kumigawa, due to bookmaker, could not dispute his loss and could not dispute the fact that a loser like him could win. And Najimi, due to Devil Style, could not deny that the impossible had become possible. It was solid proof to her that the world was fake, that someone who had no chance of winning without any luck or flukes could still win. Something so impossible it couldn't possibly happen in reality. So having found out for sure that the world wasn't real, she puts a finger to her head and tries to kill herself, as a life that isn't real isn't worth living in. But Medaka stops her and tells her she is nothing but a kid. That Zenkichi didn't win because of her, he won because he conveyed his feelings to the student body. She had nothing to do with it. The world doesn't revolve around her even if she thinks it does. So in order to show her this, Medaka uses Najimi's own logic to prove her wrong and proves to her that life is real. As even if Zenkichi beat Medaka, there is still one impossibility that Najimi failed to make possible. She wasn't able to kill herself. No matter how many times she tries, Medaka will stop her. Her committing suicide is an impossibility, and so with that made clear, Medaka makes a declaration that Najimi will join class 13 as a freshman and she will teach her all there is to learn about reality and about life. And upon hearing this, Najimi's final seal dissolved, her heart was freed and she was finally able to understand the beauty of life and of reality. Because Medaka stopped her from dying and made her face life. She was denied something for the first time, she faced impossibility for the first time, one no skill of hers could overcome. And with this new understanding, she went on to live as a student and more importantly to have fun. Medaka, like her, is someone with superhuman abilities, one who like her was alone, isolated by her power, someone who took on an impossible task to try give her life meaning. However, one thing that neither of them realised at first was that they did it to themselves. Medaka, in order to not be crushed by her feelings of guilt and self-hatred, convinced herself she was a goddess with the goal of saving strangers. And Najimi, so she wouldn't be crushed by nihilism, chose to believe the world is just a manga to try do the impossible, an impossible goal. Medaka calls herself a beast, Najimi calls herself a non-human. They isolated themselves from others, from humanity, as that's what they thought would lead them away from misfortune, but both of them were wrong, as connection really is everything. Medaka is able to finally understand the flaws in her way of thinking when she is defeated by Zenkichi. Due to the love of her fellow students, she understands that she isn't alone and that she isn't a goddess, she's just a human. And coming to abandon her way of thinking and being true to herself as the normal high school girl she was one of the biggest steps Medaka ever took towards becoming the free and happy human we see at the end of the story. And so Medaka forces Najimi to understand this too. She tells her she will be joining the freshman class and that alongside her they will start living as not beasts or non-humans, but as normal high school girls. As one of the biggest themes explored in the story is that no matter your mindset or your power, you are still human. I mean, think back to Najimi's first appearance. Kumigawa ripped off her face to see if even without it he would still love her. And well, he did, as no matter what face you wear, what mask you use to present yourself as a goddess, a loser or a non-human, underneath it you were nothing but yourself, nothing but a normal human. Even if she didn't think she was, Najimi really was just a human. And so alongside Medaka, the two of them for the first time live as normal humans. She's able to stand alongside people and not stand detached from them as a not equal. She has shown that life has meaning through connection with others, and that even she, the all-powerful person with 4 quadrillion skills, can just be normal. At the end of the day then, all Najimi needed to be happy was a friend, a normal old friend, and so that's why her death is so powerful, as she dies for her friend's sake. Najimi tried to kill herself when she concluded the world wasn't real, that life was meaningless. And she sacrificed herself when she concluded that saving her friend was more important than her own life. The difference between these two situations is drastic to say the least, but it very poetically gives across the beauty of Najimi's arc. She died not for herself, but for someone else, for a human nonetheless, the people she stood detached from. But that is no longer true, as she is no longer standing apart from humans. Thanks to Medaka, she now is one, a normal high school girl, and it's all down to the power of human connection, the power of friendship. She died for someone else. It's something that pre the election Najimi would never do, and that's just a testament to how much she changed. Medaka said that her death would be an impossibility, so in a way, Najimi got to prove that the impossible was possible, but she no longer needed such reasoning to keep herself from offing herself, as Najimi for the first time in millions of years wasn't alone. She had friends by her side, and that was enough to make her entire life worth it. Not as a non-human not equal, but as a normal high school girl. Because the biggest messages of Medaka Box are that no matter what or who you are still human, and that only with human connection and friendship can you truly be happy. Comment of the week comes from Professor Midas, and you'll be saying hooray a lot more because there's a hell of a lot more Medaka Box content coming in the future. If you're interested in my literary endeavours, then why not check out my books Gang, Fluid Justice and People of Fate Volume 1, available at Amazon.com. And if you want to go the extra mile in supporting this channel, then consider pledging to my Patreon, where for as little as £2.75 a month, you can get your name at the end of the video, like Hikari Desu, 7SO, Smokey McBobby and Rinjack9696. So with all that said and done, I've been Seth the Sin, the Deadly Sin of Geek, and I'm signing out. Stay safe, everyone.